In today's video, New York City might be facing a multi-billion-dollar budget problem, and officials are now warning that situation could be worse than originally expected. Um, um, According to the city controller, the gap in the city finance could reach 7.3 billion over the next 2 years, and the debate over how to fix it could affect taxes, jobs, and economic future of the city. So let's get into this video. And um I want y'all guys to subscribe to my channel, uh put a like to my channel, and yeah, man. So let's get into this video.
5's Morgan Mackay here now with what we learned today. Morgan.
Hey, Steve and Natasha. So City Comptroller Mark Levine painting a grim picture of the city's economic future, reporting that the city lost 38,000 private sector jobs over the last year. Today, the City Council kicked off their first budget hearing, and already there are mixed numbers. Levine testifying today that the city's budget gap will now likely be $7.3 billion over 2 years, almost $2 billion more than what the mayor's office has been projecting.
How is it that OMB got such a high revenue estimate? They did that by assuming that the bull market that fueled the financial industry in 2024 and 2025 continues in 2026, in what OMB refers to as another, quote, exceptional year. In that scenario, in their scenario, the securities industry would add 8,200 jobs over the next 2 years, triple what my office projects.
Now, Levine also criticized the mayor's office for proposing to draw down the city's reserves to help fill the budget gap. The proposal to drain the reserves and the projected budget gaps has now also forced Moody's ratings to change the city's bond outlook from stable to negative for the first time since COVID. Levine says he is strongly against the mayor's proposal to raise property taxes, pointing to how it will make the city's fiscal future even more uncertain. But he does think the state should give the city more money each year by changing the local aid formula. When asked about the proposal to raise taxes on millionaires and corporations, Levine kept the door open but was cautious.
Everything has to be on the table, but I also want to be cautious because we're relying on the financial sector to continue to show strength in order to meet our revenues. And if we undermine that, we could be in a deeper hole. So I want to be very careful that we don't do anything in our tax policy that would slow down this key sector that we need to pay for important programs for New Yorkers.
So what this mean is what this mean is, right? He don't want to, he don't want to, know what I'm saying, go too far with the tax hike, okay? Meaning that he's gonna look at what Mamdani is saying about um raising tax on corporation and millionaires that live in New York and billionaires or whatever, right? But now if okay, let's say if they approve it or whatever, they raise the taxes on millionaires, corporation, what's gonna happen is the corporations, the millionaires, billionaires, they're gonna leave New York. And that's what they get their revenue from. The tax, that's where they get the tax revenue from. So they don't want to they don't they just they will look at it on table, but they don't think that they could do that because it might hurt the economy. You might lose a lot of jobs. So if you raise taxes on the rich and corporations and stuff like that, they're gonna leave. They're gonna go to Florida. They go to Texas that have no tax burden. They don't pay income tax and stuff like that. You know, some people might stay because they like New York. They love New York, New York City. But that's the thing. A lot of people just don't understand that, and they think that you could just raise tax on the rich, and people don't know that they really pay the majority of the taxes. Okay, a lot of people don't know that, but they do, and so Now, if you raise, like I say, if you raise taxes on the rich, they got an option to say, you know what, I don't want to stay here no more. I'm going to leave, and that's what's gonna happen. And guys, you can watch your comments down below and let me know what you think.
Now, usually the mayor's budget director will kick off testimony at the first council budget hearing, but City Hall says that the director will testify later in the month because he is fasting for Ramadan.
We know that Governor Hochul.
Look, man, when he's saying this, if you continue to push towards this, and if it happens, it's gonna get worse, and that's the bottom line.
Has been against raising taxes. Has she changed her position on that at all?
So actually today, Governor Kathy Hochul was up in Albany for a summit hosted by Politico, and she was asked.
All right, guys, I'm going to go to Kathy. I think her name is Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, and she was on Political, and she was asked would she raise taxes on corporation and the rich. So let's get into this video.
In their plans, has your thinking changed at all on these tax proposals?
You know, let me frame it this way. I know New Yorkers are exasperated. They feel that everything's stacked against them. They're not getting ahead. Their rents are too damn high. Their child care costs are high. Their utility bills, and thank you to Washington, we're going to have higher prices at the pump. We already do. Everything just seems so hard for people. So I understand that frustration. You should join me in the North Country yesterday in Ogdensburg and Watertown, and people are so upset about the tariffs, raising the cost of everything. So there is this anxiety, which is real, and we're continuing to address the affordability crisis, which I believe should be the #1 priority of this legislative session. What can we do to take off some of that pain that New Yorkers are feeling that I hear about literally every day? What I want to make sure we are smart about is having a system in place where it's not just taxing for the sake of taxing, and being conscious of the facts that I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. Right? Now, there are some patriotic millionaires who've stepped up. Okay, cut me the checks. I mean, just if you want to be supportive, but maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded. So I philosophically don't have.
That's true. A lot of people left. They moved to Florida. They don't pay taxes in Florida. Okay? It's not a big tax burden on them in Florida.
Problem. It is like I have to look at the fact that we are in competition with other states who have less of a tax burden on their corporations and their individuals. And I would say remote work changed everything. There were people who could only work in an office in Manhattan or work in New York State, and they were captives to our state. They were going to stay.
So, okay, if states is in competitions, so you don't think that you should take notes from these states like Florida, Texas, that's not paying taxes? Like, I don't understand. I get it that New York City get the revenue from the tax, but you don't think that, maybe I have to understand more of it, but you don't think that you should not put a lot of tax burden on people? I mean, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's crazy. But what she essentially saying is like you can't really tax more on the rich because they really bring more of the tax revenue. Like I say earlier this video, you tax more on the rich, they got an option to move. Florida, Texas. Look what happened. Look what's going on in California, Los Angeles, whatever. A lot of companies left. We saw what just happened in Seattle. So I don't know. You guys, let's see what's gonna happen.
We saw that that's not the case. I mean, you know, Wall Street businesses looking at Texas, they're not going there because they have a nicer governor. I know that for sure. But they're going there because of the tax rate. We have to be smart about this. But we can fund what we want to fund with what we already are taking in.
To hear Mayor Mamdani
Exactly.
talk about it, though, he says it's not about taxing for the sake of taxes.
I think it's like if you're trying to spend so much and you taking less, you're gonna be in a deficit, and that's the problem. I think Mamdani just want to spend a lot. Like remember, he ran on. I said, "I'm gonna give you free buses. I'm gonna give you free this. I'm gonna give you free that," and it costs a lot of money. A lot of people don't understand that. If you once you like people once they hear, "Oh, I'm gonna give you free," it sounds good in your ear, but it's always a cost for that, and essentially that's a lot of money. And now you asking for so much, you want to spend so much, and you bring in less, and that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a deficit. Now they try to figure out this budget situation, and it's like, bah, you know what I mean? What are you doing? And that's what it is. So that's why he essentially said, oh, he want to propose to raise taxes on the rich, and I don't think you could do that because they have the option to leave. Now his second proposal is to tax, I mean, to raise property taxes. And people just don't realize that. Like, you can't raise the taxes on the rich because they have the option to leave. And what's always going to happen? It's always going to fall on the average class people, whatever. The 9 to 5, the people that work 9 to 5.
He's got a $5.4 billion city budget gap that he's got to address. I know you kicked in some money to pay that gap down, but he says that he really needs this tax increase, or at least the flexibility to get a tax increase in the city in order to address some of the fiscal challenges he is facing in the first 10 weeks or so of his administration. Just what do you make of the mayor's posture on that?
No, listen, I understand, and I'm working very hard to have a constructive relationship with the mayor. You saw that when he was mayor for 8 days, and we helped him get a win that he had hoped for, something that I had been wanting to do for a long time. And we put significant resources from the state into a multi-year program to expand child care across the state, not just New York City, but have the rest of the state catch up. We've done that. And it was not an insignificant amount of money for us to say right off the get-go, $1.5 billion. Here you go. This will help. But now it's up to the city council, and I've had conversations with council members. They're doing their job, too, looking at exactly, is the budget portrayed the way it needs to be? Are there areas of savings? Are there areas where we can just be, making adjustments? And so I'm going to let them do their work. And that's how it's supposed to play out. We have been very supportive of the city. You cannot argue with how much we have supported.
All right, guys. If you guys want to watch this whole political interview, you could I guess go on this channel, on her channel, and whatever, and watch this. So let me know what you think about this video, the tax hike, man. Do you think they gotta raise taxes on corporation and on the rich, or do you think that's gonna have a bad effect or whatever? Do you think they're gonna raise property taxes, or do you think they're gonna figure out the budget situation? Let me know what you think, and subscribe to my channel, put a like to my channel, and I'll see y'all guys on the next one. Peace.